your chair, bring your dream to the table. Mama Vega's here helping women feel able. Business, purpose, wellness, and life. We rise together and do what's right. Welcome to Mama Vega's kitchen table, where women gather to grow, build, and rise. One story, one dream, one business at a time. Mama Vega's kitchen table, where women rise and shine.
Okay. Good morning, ladies. Good morning.
Morning, morning.
Today, what we're going to talk about is the woman behind the business needs a plan too. Because the thing is we always plan. We write out the things we want to do, most of us. Some of us don't. We just kind of wing it and it's in our head. But if you have a calendar or something digital, that's what you want to do, is you want to put that in there. But what's also important is for us to plan our clothing. And when you know you have to go someplace, a lot of times what we do is we just grab something and we say we're going to go out the door. We're just going to, I'm just going to wing it and go. But what you have to do is, just like you're intentional with showing up to a place, you want to show up also by what you wear, because you start speaking before you open your mouth. Because what people see and how they perceive you is the message that you just get just when you walk in the door. That's just like when you go into the grocery store and they have those end caps. That speaks to you. That's why they put the things that they want you to buy right there at the counter too. Okay, it's talking to you. That candy bar, those chips, they put everything right there, especially if you have to stand for a long time, right? You go into some place like Ross or any of those places and you have a long line. Look at all the things you have to pass before you get, and they make it where you're like cattle. You're going through like a cattle prod, and they're prodding you with all these little things on both sides. You can't get by.
Not even necessary.
you go through the first half of the line, then you go through the second half of the line, and then you zigzagging like you're in the airport, right? Like right. Just like the airport. But what you have to do is you need to do your clothing with intentionality too, because that way you're actually saying what you want to say before you walk in the room, because people are going to judge you by what you're wearing. It doesn't mean you're judging yourself. And I always call it, what's my costume today? What's the costume that I'm putting on today? It can be the makeup, it can be the lipstick, it can be your hair up, your hair down, but your clothing is very important. It's extremely important. And you have to plan that wardrobe. Depending on where you're going. You may even have a change of shoes and a change of clothes in the car with you. You may have to go to, on your way, you may say, you know what, let me go to the gas station. Let me take my purse in there. I got another whole outfit I can put on in order to go to my next appointment. Because you may not be able to go to a hotel or someplace like that in order to change your clothes. But I will tell you, those bathrooms are cleaner than anywhere else. But
It's brave enough, you can change in the car.
You're brave enough. That's it. But that's important, because you're sending a message. So I want you guys to talk about, clothing and leaving and making sure that you have that right outfit, that right bracelet, that right earring. It can be something very simple. You can wear an all black dress, but depending on what you bling it out with, it can be very elegant. And you can do it where it's business casual, and you put on different jewelry, because that can be,
shoes can change a whole outfit.
Everything can change it based on what you do. Exactly. So I want you to understand that that's what you do. When you're doing something, you're doing it with intentional. And many of us, especially, I know some of us here, you do mortgage and you selling houses. When you are going to a potential client, you want to be dressed a certain way, because they want to know you can sell my house. If I'm looking at you and I look at what you're wearing and it's not exactly what I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, how you going to sell my house? Okay. Or, or you're looking at, or if your car is, you've got to go somewhere and it's not spit shine, not washed. They're going to be looking at that. So we have to know that when we're going someplace, it's fine if you're just running around town, right? But even when you're running around town, you don't know who you're going to run around in town and run into. So you want to make sure that when you walk out your door, even though it may be casual, put those jeans on, make them look good. Put that shirt on, make it look good. do those things so that what you're doing is you're making sure that a person can see what you want them to see, because that's the message you're sending. You need to know that's the message you're sending. So enough of me telling you what I think you should do, but that's to know your value and know that that value is shining. So who wants to start?
I will.
Go ahead.
This was an experiment on my part. So I went into a local told you about this local bookstore where they have coffee, and I was sitting down at my table, and I had my laptop. I had on the tank top, shorts, tennis shoes. I had my business cards sitting at the end of the table, and I moved intentionally. I moved my laptop, and it knocked my business cards off the table. And I waited just a couple of seconds, and then I stood up. I had one person from the other table help me pick them up, and they just said, "Oh, here you go." They didn't say anything else. So the next week I went in. I had on a suit. I had my blazer. I had my R, my real estate sticker. I had on my high heels. I had my full makeup. My hair was done. I had my cards on the table. My laptop did the same thing. I had about 3 or 4 people stand up and, "Oh, you're in real estate." It's like, "Yeah, go ahead and keep my card." So yeah, you're right. You're right. They do judge, because when I was just t-shirt, a tank top and shorts, they just handed me my stuff. But when you're in a suit, and you also feel better about yourself when you are dressed up and you have your makeup on, and that gives you more confidence to, if you're approached, you're not like, "Oof, I'm in a tank top," and you have a different confidence about you when you do. Yeah. And it helps you just kind of like not be afraid as much as if you were dressed down. So.
And I'm glad you did that experiment.
I did.
That's really good, because that shows that some of the things that we talk about here, you can actually put it into play.
Right. And she told me this a while ago. Yeah. So that's how I know she knows. She was going to say that story, because right there, it shows just in her example what you were talking about, how you show up for yourself. And this was just a innocuous bookstore, anywhere USA, but you still show up for yourself. And just that little experiment showed the difference for, like, I'm just regular looking, and I have all my, my cards and stuff.
Time of the
but
day.
But the difference between the nice.
Perfect.
I went the same time of the day. I went on the same day, but the week after. So I wanted to keep it like
consistent. So your scientific experiment, you can't say that there was another variable that was in there.
Right. Hypotheses is like, okay, well, maybe this, not this, that. What? No, but it was just like, okay, same day of the week, same time, different clothing.
But the same
and
location,
I got a total, same location, total different response. Totally different.
And that's what we need to look at too when we go to different networking places. When you know that you're going to show up a place where there's networking going to be, study who's in the networking group. Because usually you can, when they advertise networking, you can look at the title, you can see who's already
you can see who the guest speakers are,
who the speakers are, and everything, and that's going to generally tell you who might be showing up or who could potentially be there. So and then you can say, okay, this is what I need to do. Same thing when you go to interviews, where people make their mistake is they don't do the research on the company and the person who's going to interview you. Like, where did they go to school? What did they do? What's going on in their family? What's happening?
I want to piggyback off of that. So when you say like interviews and places you go, you want to do your homework on the location. And what I usually do is dress the part, be the part. What's the environment going to look like? What kind of clothes are they going to be wearing, to make sure that you're dressed appropriately for where you're arriving. Or like you said, you want to be respected when you go, so you want to make sure you look good. If you're going something super professional, carry a blazer or a sweater to make sure, even if you have something light, like even if you have a dress on, it might be a little bit hot outside, carry that blazer and a jacket to add to it, or have like another pair of shoes with you in the car. This is something that you do to make sure your order is ready. Have your lip gloss in your purse, just to step it up just in case.
Well, I can speak on both sides of the coin. There was a time in my life where I was retail management. So that meant that people would come in and ask for an application. The way you were dressed, you might not have got an application from me.
Exactly.
I promise you. I promise you. You walk in, even if you walk in with your kids and you're dressed with a blazer, I'm thinking you don't have a babysitter. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have child care. You know, why would you bring your child here? You know, or you come in with shorts and a tank top and you're asking for a job at this establishment where you know that we're dealing with people with dollars, you know. So you're coming in here and you're asking for an application. I would tell them, we're not hiring right now. I wouldn't even waste my paper because paper is so precious right now.
It's a liability, really,
you know. And then I can flip it around. I was hired as a head chef at a place, at an establishment. And I came in with my scarf on. They saw my tattoos. They saw the way that I was, you know, walking around because I had to put on my masculine because during that time I was in survival mode. Okay. So therefore, to protect myself, I had to become, you know, a little harder than I wanted to be, you know. So the person that ran it, when he came and confronted me about something that he did not like, he told me straight up, as soon as I looked at you, I knew what type of person you were.
I've had somebody say that to me in the trucking space.
Yes.
And he was referring to the fact that you're a woman, right?
Yes.
In
and
the male dominated.
And you look like you might be, you know, you came from jail. Basically is what he was saying, you know. So what made him upset was when I opened my mouth and I started articulating my words and I started telling him the etiquette of the kitchen and why I did what I did, and I stood on my ground. The man didn't have anything to say but sign your check. You know, and he wanted me to apologize to his wife for interrupting the kitchen flow, you know. And at any time, if she would have gotten burnt or cut or anything like that, we would have been having a different discussion. But you knew exactly who I was because of the way I was dressed. Okay, I'm cool with that. But that gave me, it opened my eyes to where, you know, my mom used to tell me, don't go out, because there was a time, example, I got my young baby with me. I see my mom in Albertsons. I have on boxers and a t-shirt. And I was like, hey, Mom, how you doing? You know that woman, no, she didn't snatch me up. That woman walked right past me.
She didn't see you. Who is that? I don't know who that is.
And then when I got home, she told me off, how dare you walk out like you, who did it and what for? Don't you know that when you're walking out in the street, you're representing me? And when they see you, they think that I did something wrong. You know, I was being me. You know, this is me.
But
you
you're
know?
Still a child to somebody out there. That's what my dad used to tell me. You're still somebody's child out here.
And then while I'm walking through the store, I got security watching me. Yes. I look like I'm about to boost.
Oh my goodness.
You know, and that's not what I came in here for. You know, I came in here to get, you know.
But then again, you can't judge a book by its cover either.
But they do.
True, but
they do.
Because I know some people who dress to the nines.
Oh, and
they can't put two sentences together.
But that's because they're living behind their mask. Mm-hmm. Their clothing is what makes them. You know what I mean? That's when you start going into materialism. You know, where if I don't have this type of stuff on, I'm not this. You know, I like this morning when I woke up, I already had my outfit out since last week. Okay, when you know, already I went home and I picked out my outfit. I woke up this morning and tried to put on my slacks, and them things would not go over my hip. So now I'm feeling uncomfortable. My insecurities start coming in, like, oh, I didn't gain weight. I'm looking all in the mirror at my fupa, and I'm like, oh my God, my body feels tight. I had to go through a whole mental thing to get here. Because I was trying to find every excuse not to get here because my pants wouldn't fit. And then I just kept going through and I said, you know what? Let me just put something on and come. And I still want to tug here and there because, you know, I don't like, you know.
You showed up.
And that's the whole thing is I fought through all of my insecurities to be here because I know that there's something big coming. And I'm getting all of this extra crap being thrown at me instead of panicking, which that's what I usually do. I'll run around like Eeyore, where's my tail? Where's my tail? Where's my tail? You know, that's what I call it, the Eeyore effect. Where's my tail? Even though your tail is right here, but you looking over here for your tail. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you keep on asking yourself, where's your tail? When you sat it right here, you know? But I have to fight through that because that's what always stopped me from succeeding. My own insecurities, how I look, what they looking at me, and are they gonna buy my stuff? I don't know if they're gonna, you know what I mean? Am I dressed right? You know,
it's just not clothing though. It's car. It's where you live. I had a cousin come from Riverside to visit me, and because I had cut my grass real low, and it was like getting yellow, yellowish. You could see the yellow through the grain when it's cut real low. Because I was going to have a rototill. He drives up, and I come out, and I'm dressed, and he says, "Real estate must be slow this time of year, huh?" And I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, look at your grass." So he put my real estate towards how my house on the outside looked. So it's not just your clothing.
Yeah.
It's not just your car.
It's
everything.
Everything has to do with you.
I've had people tell me, I had an older lady tell me, women that don't wash their cars, their houses are dirty. And I'm like, what? Do you know my car?
Never even been in my house.
But this is the thing. My car will be spick and span, and you walk in my house, be like, what's going on up here? It's really on what's going on in your head. If your head is clogged, everything else is going to be jacked up.
But the bad thing is we listen to those other people.
Yes. Yeah, we do.
Because the thing is if you had your hair nice and combed, and everybody said, "Oh my God," 99 people said your hair is really nice. One person say, "Oh, I don't like it." Who are you gonna focus on? That one person.
Yeah, it's like the red dot effect. Yeah. If you're in a room, they said if you're in a room with all black and white, you're gonna focus because your eyes focus in on black and white. But if there's one red dot, you're gonna focus on that red dot, and that red dot doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like how it happens when you focus on the negative aspects of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like that red dot effect.
Like when I was when I first moved back to Bakersfield, I was gone for 5 years, and I was in, like I said, I was in retail management. I remember all I had was my management clothes, and in Texas, you can't go to Walmart with your hair not combed. You hear me? Because the soldiers might be up there. Okay. You might find you a husband. That's where they find their husband, at Walmart. I can't be walking up in there looking crazy when Soldier Man come through,
All these companies are getting free advertising.
So, when I came back, I was still dressed the way I was dressing in Texas. And one of my cousins, my closest one, always been with me since we were a little group, since she was little. I was her older cousin. She told me, "Why you always dressed up like that? All we doing is going out to the hood. Why you dressed like that?" So I started feeling bad, like, am I overdressed? And this is when I'm still trying to find myself, because every insecurity I had to fight through in order for me to, and I knew that there was something better on the other side, and I knew that I was not what everybody said I was. I just had to find, and that's when I ran into Miss Vega, and she told me, "Girl, you done already accomplished this and accomplished that. You just don't see it." Because I had so many people tell me what I wasn't. Right. And I mean, and then what's the trip is, I started dressing down, and guess what? Oh, she was dressed to the nines when we went somewhere. And here I am with my scarf on, my hair done fell out, I'm stressed out because, I'm thinking that, I'm dressed too,
That might have been an outer reflection on how she really felt about herself. because the fact that you said that she dressed to the nines when you were with her,
yeah.
Now she's in, she's got inside your head, and now you're not dressing like like the
because
things
you're
that I
going to
felt
pay attention
stuffed
to
out.
her, more than you. Right.
And see, I'm not one of those people that need everybody's eyes, or I don't like. I'm the background. I'm the roadie. I'm the roadie of I'm the curtain closer. I've always been that one. I'm the wind beneath everybody's wings. Mm-hmm. I've never been the wings with wind up under me. I've always been that one, like trying to, oh girl, you need to do this.
I think that has to do with being the older sibling, having to take care of everybody.
Yes,
I think so too.
It is.
I was one of the older ones having to take care of
yes, and it's a trip because you will take the bare minimums, and turn it into
the most. You give the most,
and turn it into something spectacular. But then when you have your resources and you have everything around you, you're thinking, I don't deserve this, and you start giving it away.
I don't need it, so
yeah, you can have it. Girl, do you need that? You can have it, and then later on, you need it.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking to yourself, that's all right. They needed it more than me. I can go get another one, which stresses you out.
Exactly.
So what would you ladies, like, you've given all these examples of what you've gone through and how you're now progressing, is what I would say. Not necessarily due to me, but we're progressing before you even came to me, and came to me for different reasons, and I met each one of you in a different manner. Mm-hmm. So if we were to challenge some of the women and men who might be listening, what would you challenge them to do? What's something that you would want to tell them that they could do to better themselves starting today, like a challenge? I would challenge you to do this today.
Dress up every day for a week and see how you feel about yourself after that week. Don't put any shorts and a tank top, but put on, jeans and dress it up, or slacks, dress it up, or a dress if you're a woman, and see how that week, what kind of activities are you involved in, what kind of reactions you get from doing that. It'll be a lot more than if you were just casual and dressed down.
Because start in the morning.
That's what happened to me. Because when you get up in the morning, and first thing I do in the morning, I'll kind of straighten up, shower, hair, makeup, which I didn't today, but and every time I put my slacks on and a blouse and I have my makeup on, and it's early, I feel good about myself. I have more confidence. It's like I want to go somewhere.
I love it when we come to the meetings early here.
Yeah, because
you're all like, ooh, nice.
Because the thing is, 10 out of 10 times, if I don't comb my hair, I wear flip flops or whatever, I always see somebody I know, and they'll go, "Girl, what have you been doing?" Well,
they're gonna speak about you.
Yeah, and then because they go like this and they look you up and down, and they judge right away.
I think that's an excellent challenge to give them, and I would add to that, in the challenge, don't rely on your memory, but actually document it. Kind of like what you did. So if they're going to a particular location, document what time you got up in the morning, what did you do, what was the outfit that you put on, and then what are the reactions that you get during the day. And I would take that even a step further, is when you get ready to put that outfit in your closet, take a little index card and put it on the hanger so that you know where you wore that outfit on what date and what the reaction was. Because now you know the reaction that you're getting from that particular outfit, and you'll know which outfits. That way you don't need to have a personal dresser to dress you.
Right.
Because now you have outfits that you would have now created, and those outfits you'll know, oh, when I wore this is what the reaction I got. And even put on that little card, like maybe the earrings that you wore or the shoes that you had on that went with it. And if somebody commented on your shoes, or they commented on the blouse. So when you put that outfit in there, put the date and the location that you went to and what was the reaction. And that way that's going to help you. And then keep a separate journal so that you know. So that's a good challenge to give someone.
Well, not only that, but when you do dress up for an occasion, I mean, even if you don't have anything going on, you might feel like you might have a bad day. You might get up, you had a bad dream or something. You go, oh. And this has happened to me before. I've gotten up and I've showered, and which is twice a day, and then I always put makeup and then put my pants and a nice blouse. And sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, I'm just having a horrible day. My granddaughter will come in and she'll say, Grandma, you look beautiful today. And that just like
brightens
you. Or if somebody sees you and they say, girl, you look really good today. Mm-hmm. Like I said, whoa, look at you. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you're having a bad day, you're going to remember that and you're going to go, I feel a little better because I feel bad, but yet somebody noticed that I made an attempt to do something for me, mm-hmm. and we're going to see it, mm-hmm. and we're going to acknowledge it, and then you're going to go, I think I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a good challenge. Now, what would you guys have as a quick reflection? So what would your reflection be on what we did here today?
Well, discussing how to show up for places. I think help you put more in perspective. It doesn't even matter where you're going, to the grocery stores, errands, mm-hmm. things like that. You should always show up how you want to be. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be a business owner, and I was just talking with Debbie about this little side job that I've taken. I probably am not going to take that anymore because it's going to interfere with what I'm going to be doing for my business. Mm-hmm. Now I do need this money, but the ramifications of how it's working out is not going to build me up. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so now I have to make a sacrifice of income that could potentially help. But if it's not enough for me to sustain, I can now be like, I don't have to do that, because that's even showing up. It's just like dressing up. When you come into a place, you show up as you are, not how you want people to think. Mm-hmm. If I'm coming to this place, most people think I'm a realtor, mm-hmm. and they don't realize that I'm just her assistant, and I'm just like here, and mm-hmm. I'm thankful to be in this space. But people talk to me in a different way that it just really motivates me every day to take that test and become a realtor. Mm-hmm. And it's getting closer and closer every day. It's not right now, but every time I come here and I'm working with her and we're doing working on my business, or we're talking about JEA, or we're just doing a job, contracts, whatever, it's motivating more, because now I don't have to just be Renee who didn't know anything. Now I'm Renee that has this set of knowledge. And mm-hmm. she's the one that tells me, girl, you know, like way more than what most realtors do. Right. And I don't know that because she's just telling me that. But mm-hmm. I have to trust her because she's been in the business for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, mine will have to be trust yourself first and foremost. You know who you are. You know what you bring to the table. And make things fun. Like have a pop of color you'll wear that day, or mm-hmm. something that, makes somebody smile, or like Mama Vega said about something you remember somebody may have said about a certain piece, mm-hmm. and carry yourself that way. And I have to, I always live as a mentor, so people are always watching, the young, the mm-hmm. youth. You never know who's watching, so always be mindful of how you present yourself out there, because you never know who's watching, mm-hmm. and that means be positive and believe in yourself, and that will take you a long way.
Okay. I try to speak without using like conjunctions, like instead of. I don't think so. I do not think so. I don't, mm-hmm. because it kind of, even the way you speak, mm-hmm. it kind of tells somebody who you are. Mm-hmm. When like sometimes people say "Gee," like what? Did you eat? Right. Mm-hmm. It's like enunciate. They don't enunciate their words. Yes. Right. And that's really big with real estate agents. Like if I'm just a regular, single family residence, or 1 to 4 units, it's not commercial. Over 4 units is commercial. Then you can dress like this. But when you're in luxury, yes, it's a totally different ballgame.
Well, it's a message that you're sending, right? And that's the whole thing. It's the message
to represent exactly what you're there for.
I remember being on the buyer's side. I was the agent, and the listing agent was in the alley of Columbus. He was looking at a patio because I was telling him the patio is connected to the house. We got to do a termite inspection because it's included. And he argued with me. I said, we need to go back. So I went back, and I had a tank top and shorts because I was on my day off. And he called me, and I went over there in the alley, and he says, can I help you? said, I'm the agent. He looked at me and he said, no, you're not. I said, I'm the agent. Here's my ID. He goes, oh. So he looked down on me, but yet when I started telling him, this isn't going to go. I know what I'm doing. You know, totally different story, but I mean, what came out of my mouth was different than the way I was dressed.
Exactly.
So,
and that's what's actually important.
right.
But that also leads us into almost what we're going to do in our next segment. So we're going to stop it here, like I usually do, is I try to stop you guys before you get into that next thing, and you give and you give it away what we're going to do. So we'll play our outro.
Oh wait.
So around the table, we plant the seed. Women rise with what they need. Business, courage, wisdom, and grace. Mama Vega holds the space. Thank you for joining Mama Vega's kitchen table, where women gather to grow, build, and rise. Remember, your dream matters, your voice has power, and your legacy starts with one brave step. Mama Vega's kitchen table, where women rise and shine.